I just got done watching Disenchanted. This is the Enchanted sequel that many of you have been waiting for. I know I have, because I think the original movie is such a blast. And honestly, for me, I didn't know how this was going to turn out, because for me, did not love the trailer for this. But seeing that the concept is 10 years after her happily ever after, Giselle questions her happiness and inadvertently turning the lives of those in real world and her old kingdom upside down in the process. Everyone's back. Amy Adams, Patrick Dempsey, James Marsden. I mean, the list can go on and on from there. And Maya Rudolph's joining the cast as well. It all seems great, right? Well, like I mentioned, the trailers didn't grab me. As well as I heard some of the test screens for this film were not the best. And sometimes I've seen that turn out to be true, and sometimes I've seen it to be kind of a surprise afterwards when they do reshoots. Count me as surprised. I actually thought this was not a bad movie. The embargo is very late, so I thought, okay, this is probably really going to be shitty. No. In fact, this is a good movie. This is a good sequel to the original Enchanted. Is it even close to how great the original one was? No. But is it fun? Yes. And I have issues, but I'll talk about those in a second, because really much before we get into this, make sure guys to hit that like and subscribe button, as well as leave your thoughts down below. I love seeing thoughts and getting to hear your guys' knowledge of what you guys think about the movie. So if you disagree with me, that's completely fine. Make sure to leave your thoughts down below, as well as making sure to hit that like and subscribe button again down there. So I do want to talk about my pros first, and one of the big things I want to talk about is how each and every one of these actors really sinks back into the role of their original characters, and I completely adored that. Amy Adams as Giselle is like one of the best castings that they've ever made, and what I like is that each character, for the most part, specifically everyone in the real world, has a different spin and twist on their character. And Giselle, I'm not going to get into spoilers, I don't know really much what the latest trailers have shown, but Giselle has this twist to her character about midway through the movie, and when you start to notice that it's a very organic twist that works for what the story is trying to tell here. And I actually thought it was kind of hilarious and very fun, and I think that's the big thing to be remembered, is that Enchanted was a very fun movie, and playing with this trope of what if these cartoon characters came from out of their world and landed in New York City. What if all that fun vibe from that kingdom ended up coming into the real world? That's kind of what you start to feel here. And again, Amy Adams is wonderful as Giselle. Patrick Dempsey as Robert, fantastic casting, as always, and I think, again, has a fun twist to him. James Marsden, this can kind of be a little bit of a nitpick. I wish there was more of him. I just think this actor is so underrated, and honestly, when I think of the original Enchanted, I think he is the main standout of that entire film. Menzel is fantastic. Again, same thing as James Marsden. I don't think she got a ton to do in this movie, but she does have one song in here that is great. And speaking of the music is actually one of the biggest surprises of this movie. Is it, some of the most memorable stuff in the world? No. But each of the tunes, each of the twinkles, each and every one of those things, I just couldn't help but smile while watching and get this, nice little Disney feeling that I haven't gotten from a while. And I think Disenchanted actually adds to that whole entire tone with such a magical feeling to it all. And it really does feel like a good companion piece to the first Enchanted. As well as Maya Rudolph is really great addition to this role. I love what they did with her, and I think it was a lot of fun. I wish they never showed some of the stuff that she did in the trailers, though, because it did give away certain things, but she is a lot of fun, and she's eating away. And her and Amy Adams, just their banter, their chemistry, their everything with one another is fantastic. And I think that's the one thing I can just go as far to say. I think it's the performances that really elevate the story. I think some of the story elements can be a little bit lackluster, but the story in general is kind of fun. I think that's the big thing, is that I just had fun with Disenchanted. I didn't expect very much from it, and I expected maybe a bad movie, but I in fact just tuned in and found it to be fun. There's some nice humor. Again, the music's good. So what's kind of the one thing holding this movie back? And I think there's two things. One, it doesn't really do anything new. There's some fun twists and turns here and there, but overall, in the same sacred of everything, was this a sequel that was needed? No, and really much no movie is needed, but this isn't a sequel that I feel like was completely worth the wait. The second thing I will also say is that this movie, and this is something that I felt with every single Disney Plus original film besides the Chip and Dale film, they all feel fabricated for just Disney Plus. And I think it's actually one of the biggest detriments to a lot of these movies, and Hocus Pocus kind of had the same complaint from me. I enjoyed that movie. I didn't love it. But at the same time, when you watch that movie, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, this could have been better made. And I don't know what it is, but they feel like Disney original movies just with a higher budget. And there's just a feel to it that's kind of missing from when, like, if you were to put this in theaters, I think it would just feel cheap. It's kind of in that between. It's not cheap, but it kind of feels cheap, and I don't think Disenchanted deserves that. I think this is actually a movie that deserved a little bit of a higher budget, and just in general a better feel, and actually feeling like a movie. I think that's the other thing I actually felt is that the way that the story is actually structured kind of felt like a show. But I do feel like that might be because of some reshoots. There's some certain pacing things here where I'm like, I feel like this might have been a reshoot here and there, and not all of it. I mean, to the normal movie-going person, they're not going to notice that. They're just going to think I'm nitpicking. But there's certain things in there where I could definitely tell where certain things were changed. And last but not least, the movie is running almost at 2 hours long, and that just feels way too long for this film. This film could have easily probably cut out at least 10 to 15 minutes. But other than that, I thought Disenchanted was a good movie. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. I think if you would like the original Enchanted, you're going to like this one. Amy Adams is just wonderful, and you can just absolutely be delighted by her charm. And in general, this is, again, just a fun movie. Like, there's nothing much more than I can say with that. So with all that said, I'm going to give Disenchanted a B-. Thank you so much again, guys, for watching this. You guys are really all the best. I enjoyed this one, and I can't wait to hear your guys' thoughts. So, of course, until next time, stay classy.